The journey of Nottingham Forest that continues, Dave, with a 2-1 defeat at Fulham. But take nothing away from Fulham, first of all. They are now 8th in the Premier League. And again, their form has been a little bit stop-start, but when they play well and when it clicks, it really, really works. And this win against Forest, I don't think there was much Forest could have done. Fulham literally dominated play from start to finish, didn't they? And it was a great setup, first of all, for Marco Silva. They attacked the game and took the initiative. Emil Smith-Rowe's opener was fantastic. Calvin Bassey with his first Fulham goal as well. Cancelled out anything Forest had to offer, and it was almost like they dominated so much Forest didn't have an answer to that, did they?
No, and I thought Marco Silva approached it really cleverly. I think his tactical approach was spot on. If you look at their approach to the midfield, obviously Lukic and Berger, I think they really kind of put a clamp on Forest's ability to move into those areas. I think the line as well, I think they pressed quite high and really put a lot of pressure on that and Forest build up, and they struggled to build up plays, which we've seen, obviously for the majority of this season. They've done it so effectively, and in transition they've been brilliant. They put a stop to that. I think also with the inclusion of Adama there, I think that stopped Nico Williams probably getting forward as much as he probably would have liked to. Thought that was another smart move. Although we've given, I think, Adama Traore has had plenty of critics over the years in terms of, particularly, I think he's like footballing IQ. But what a cross that was for the first goal, exceptional. It was a strange game because obviously coming into this, we mentioned the last couple of games what a massive couple of games these are for Forest, because you look at the run they've got now, it is a difficult one. And I think with it being so tight in those around those European places, it's marginal, isn't it, really?
Of course it is, yeah. But I mean, we can talk about Forest in a moment and their approach, but the fact that Fulham had only 56% of the ball, it wasn't like they dominated possession, but their XG was 2.24. 24 shots, 10 on target. They really did take the game to Forest. And I know Forest have been known to set up to absorb pressure and hit on the counter, but Fulham dominated that midfield and down the flanks as well, like they've done so many times with their wing backs. And they're a lot more clinical than we give them credit for. Loads of creativity. Their transitions are always really positive, and I honestly don't think Forest could have done much here. So you have to give Fulham credit. I mean, they're 8th in the table now. And again, you talk about it being fairly wide open and a run of form changing literally everything. But, I mean, there's difference now between Fulham in 8th. They're on 39 points. Chelsea are in 6th and they're on 43. It's a 4-point gap between those two teams. And I would not have considered that possible when you look back at, like, October, November time. Because Chelsea was so far ahead, first of all. But Fulham looked so inconsistent. But isn't it mad how much of a run you can go on to get you up into those upper reaches of the Premier League now? I'm not saying Fulham are European contenders, but they are definitely, I think, one of the top 8 clubs in the Premier League quite comfortably, aren't they?
Yeah, and I mean, we've spoken about some of the quality of the personnel they've got in there. They've only gone and strengthened. Obviously, they've brought William back in as well.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they didn't get rid of Andres Pereira, I think that's a real coup for them in terms of keeping him with the quality that he can bring to this side when he does feature. I know he's kind of been a little bit out of favour over the last few weeks and been in and out of the side, but we know what he can bring to this team in terms of his creativity and I think his quality on the ball. Harrison Reed obviously is another one as well, who's obviously been out of the team, in and out of the team as well. But obviously, I think you look at some of the additions they did make. I think Emil Smith-Rowe was a real smart buy. We've mentioned that, didn't we, at the start of the season? He was my player to watch. I just think that some of the quality, I think they're really an underrated team, Fulham, and I think teams coming into playing them, you always know it's going to be a tough game. It's always going to be the case. So all of a sudden, they've got a unit now that it looks like it's deserving of European football for me. Like, depending what level it is, whatever level obviously they get, I think they could get a spot.
I think they're missing probably a really prolific number 9, like a lot of teams. But I think if they had that penalty box goal threat, things would change because their creativity going forward is really impressive, and that's the thing I think really stood out for me here. But
I think he's managed that well, though. I think obviously you can see Jimenez in there and Muniz. I think they've both come in and scored important goals this season, in important times as well. I agree. I think obviously Omena's is, on the wrong side of his career, and he's probably, it's dwindling down now. They probably will be looking at getting another striker probably next season. So, yeah, it's a fair point. I think attacking wise, I do think they probably just lack a little bit of a different dimension. I think that's probably why they brought Willian back in, because he does give you that little bit of unpredictability. He can go down the outside, he can cut in and create from midfield as well. So, but yeah, it's a great result for Fulham, particularly with the form that Forest have been in.